welcome to Dueling with Danton, and thank you for joining me as we talk about episode 40 of the Yuigoh Sevens anime series. A really fun episode that sees Romin overcoming her struggles after hearing Princess G's decision to retire from music. This comes about after her music label was terminated by Goha. After all, Princess G supports Rush Dueling, which Goha are against. So I do want to start off by talking about Goha themselves. After all, we learn in episode 39 that the President Drone wants to start taking action towards crushing Rush Dueling. So despite the fact that we're going to be starting off with a meeting between Goha staff members, this at first had me really excited. However, that excitement then turned to disappointment after we saw what the conversation transpired between them. The reason why I say this was short-lived was simply because the employees of Goha seemed to be really dumb, to the point where they were making Rook look smart with some of the ideas they presented forward. At least Mimi was shown to be the most kind of collective and the smartest one, understanding the fact that the ideas presented to her were all trash. As hopefully, I do hope Mimi is working on a plan in the background, as we get a decent amount of screen time with Mimi in this episode, and she still is attending the school in which Yuigoh and Co are present at, which is 7th Elementary now. We've gone away from 6th Elementary. So I can't see the drone allowing Mimi to leave the Goha president's seat unattended, or the building of Goha, without having some form of plan laid out or being implemented with her being at the school. So there must be some sort of deal going on between the drone and Mimi, to the point where the drone's like, okay, this could work, this plan is solid, I'll allow you to execute this, and of course the execution of that plan means Mimi has to be near Yuigoh. So I guess that's how they're going to kind of swing that one, unless it is just only for this episode that we see Mimi back at school, and afterwards she's not going to appear anymore. The whole situation with Princess G getting fired was slightly odd in my opinion, as it seemed to happen really quickly without any fuss or hassle at all. Surely Princess G brings in a lot of revenue for Goha, being that she is a popular star that is world known within the universe of Sevens. So from a company perspective, they shouldn't have been in such a rush, to let her go so easily. I know obviously her points of views and her kind of stances clashes with the kind of perspective that Goha has on Rush Dueling, but nevertheless though, they should have at least attempted to keep her on their side, but it was like, oh, what you said has got you fired, bye bye. Saying that, however, this episode did have the theme of attachment. You shouldn't stop doing the things that you love just because of a certain situation. For Princess G's case, she loves / supports Rush Dueling because it has a potential and affects children by moving their hearts, which could reflect her desires when it comes to her performing music. As a guitarist, she most likely wishes to move the hearts of her audience through the music that she presents. Combine this with the theme of the episode, and you've got a hard case to argue the reasons as to why, no matter how much persuasion Goha has or offers, Princess G's resolve will always remain pro-Rush Dueling. So you know what, they could have done either all, but then again, with the theme of the episode, I think it fitted really well that she did just walk. And I like the fact that she did just walk, because it showed her character being confident and strong-willed. Being that if Goha said, oh, well, your music label is going to be tarnished if you like Rush Dueling, and she's like, oh no, don't do that, anything but that, it would have really damaged her character and made her look really flip-floppy. So the fact they didn't do that, I thought was a big positive and makes me like Princess G's character a lot more. Plus, of course, what we see later on in the episode. Continuing with Princess G, I loved her teacher's persona. This was super fun and really made me laugh throughout the episode watching it unfold. Plus, it might have just been because of her glasses and goofy nature. However, she reminded me of Carly from the 5Ds, with the disguise and everything that she wore. Still though, seeing her support Romin throughout the episode was great, and it links back to her kind of conversation with Goha, in where she says she believes in the potential that Rush Dueling carries, and the fact that it can awaken a potential within the younger generation. But could there have been a hint of guilt within her actions, as she was aware of the fact that Romin wanted to quit rush dueling because of the way that it affected Princess G's career, therefore making the teacher persona of Princess G more inclined to kind of guide Romin and kind of teach her the lesson of the fact is you shouldn't give up on the things that you love. That motorbike that she rides was a bit too safe for my liking, as it looked more like a trike or a dual runner. Wait a minute, we've seen Jack Atlas's D-Wheel, and she reminds me of Carly from 5Ds. So, turbo duelings are coming soon to Yuigoh Sevens? Of course not. There's a higher chance that Rook manages to see through Miss Give Me's disguise, seeing that she is in fact Princess G. Oh wait, he actually did. Wow, I'm shocked. Not even Romin did that. Or Gakuto. Yuigoh, up in the air, his response was just smiles. Plus, I thought hearing Princess G call Mimi president was really intriguing, as A, it shows that Princess G is rather perceptive, and B, shows an error within Gohar's management system, which could be exploited in the future if someone of like a third-party group finds out that Mimi is Princess Gohar. Oh wow, President Gohar. Then again, we could have just had Mimi explain to Princess G who she is off screen. Either way though, it's still something to think about, because again, if a third party enemy does come into play within Yuigoh Sevens later on down the road, if the fact that Mimi is the president of Gohar, then that could be exposed and utilized and exploited in many different ways. So if Princess G found that information out on her own, we need to know who told her that and how she found it out. As a real debut episode goes for this character, I did think it was fantastically handled and well presented, and hopefully we do see her again in the near future. After all, we do need to see that jam session between herself and Romin, so hopefully we do end up getting that, because I know that's a matchup that we all want to see from this series. Romin versus Princess G is something they've been building towards, something that definitely has to happen, because it's a dream of Romin's to do. And speaking of Romin, this episode gave her a lot of focus and screen time, as it showcases her struggles coming to terms with her favourite musician retiring. And rightly so, as we know, Princess G has been a big influence on Romin's character. It's thanks to her that Romin managed to gain courage and wanted to perform and break out of her shy ways, giving her a dream to work towards. But with the threat of retirement coming into play, that dream that Romin has that gave her courage, that gave her a desire to move forward, is slowly but surely shattering, and that's why we see her very emotional in this episode. Seeing her win this duel was, in my opinion, the correct decision, as this allows Romin to decide for herself whether or not to truly quit rush dueling. Now, although this wasn't stated or a stipulation to the duel, had Yuigoh won, I felt like it would have forced Romin's character to continue dueling and been very forced and kind of locked her down into that position. It would have taken away her sense of freedom and choice. Now, of course, Yuigoh losing doesn't really tarnish Yuigoh's character at all. I don't mind Yuigoh losing. I know some people might make the argument of, why did Romin have to fight Yuigoh? Well, I thought again, having Yuigoh as Romin's possible last duel, again, is the correct decision. The reason being is, this goes back to the very first duel that Romin had. She got introduced to rush dueling through Yuigoh. Plus, it plays to the emotional aspect that Romin is going through. She's emotionally angry and upset at Yuigoh. She has an outburst towards him earlier on in the episode, because Yuigoh is the creator of rush dueling. So essentially, he's the one that took Princess G away from her. That is the way that Romin is feeling in this emotional state. Overall, whether that was anger, resentment, confusion, passion, or even happiness, this episode was an emotional charge for Romin's character. As I would even say, this episode was a good episode in terms of developing her character further. She now understands that her dream of jamming with Princess G is still possible despite the current information and situation that has unfolded. She learns the fact that she now has to enjoy the good, embrace the positives, and not endure the bad any longer. No longer needing her berserk state to kind of win a duel or get an advantage over her opponent. This I thought was great, and we can prove this with the simple fact that she's able to summon her ace monster, Esperade, without going berserk. So this proves that. However, we are going to see that berserk state again, maybe, possibly, who knows. It's a possibility that I personally would be okay with seeing again if the situation calls for it. Or maybe, let's just say she's dueling Roa of all characters, and maybe Roa pushes her into that state because Roa knows that it would weaken her dueling ability if she was to go berserk again, because it will force her playstyle into being more aggressive and less smart/tactical. So I think it could be utilized in that way. Maybe if, it doesn't have to be Roa, but maybe an enemy knows of this berserk state for Romin, and it would give them an advantage over her now that Romin has seemingly broke away from this berserk mode. So I think that could be a good plot point that they revisit and kind of reuse and utilize in the future. Exploit would have been a better word. Nevertheless though, we'll have to wait and see. One thing I did think was a little bit odd from this episode was Yuigoh's character, telling Romin that he isn't going to force her to continue rush dueling. However, he did keep trying to persuade her to not give up dueling itself, complimenting her by saying, "That's why you shouldn't give up," and he kept asking her if she really is going to quit. You could argue that Yuigoh was trying to remind Romin how fun rush dueling can be, as he might come to the conclusion that Romin would be sad or lost without it. Maybe he didn't want to lose Romin as a friend. That idea has no real merit behind it, as you would imagine that Romin can still be friends with the main cast without the need of dueling. But if there were to be a situation where Yuigoh is showing signs of fear when it comes to losing friends/things he's attached to, then this could be an interesting character trait that we explore further later on. And I wouldn't mind it if that were the case. We need to give Yuigoh some form of weakness when it comes to his kind of personality, and I think this might be a little bit fun to explore. Overall, a really fun episode, with the main highlight for me actually being the music and the sound effects. This episode had a lot of them, yet they all blended nicely into the episode, very clear, and they did not disrupt the mood or the vibe that the episode gave off, or even the dialogue that the characters were having. So I thought that was executed amazingly. The comedy was really solid, and the theme was easily conveyed and helped develop the characters further within the episode, so that for me was appreciated and a big thumbs up. Anyways, I want to thank you for watching this review, and hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you have, please hit that like button and share this video with a friend or something. But of course, I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. What did you think of this episode? And above all else, I hope you have an amazing day. Alligator matane. Goodbye.